Please unmute, sir. Unmute.
I have not muted at all, is it?
Yes, yes. Now you are audible, sir. With your permission, should we start, sir?
Yeah.
Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, esteemed guests, faculty members, and students. Today, we are gathered here through online mode for a very special event, which is jointly organized by the Law Lecture Series and National Service Scheme of Marathwada Legal and General Education Societies, Manikchand Pahade Law College, on the very special occasion of celebration of Constitution Day. Constitution Day is a significant occasion for us to reflect upon the values enshrined in our Constitution and celebrate the guiding principles that govern our nation. To mark this day, we have the privilege of hosting a distinguished speaker who has made substantial contribution to the field of law and legal education. Before commencing this program, I request everyone to keep themselves on mute for the convenience of this online session. To start this program, I will have the honor of reading the preamble of the Constitution. I hope everyone to recite this with me in their own minds. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. Jai Hind. Now, let me share a few words about our esteemed resource person for today's special lecture. A scholar of immense repute and authority in constitutional law, and a former Vice Chancellor of both National Law University Bhopal and Tamil Nadu, and Dr. Ambedkar Law University Chennai. With the PhD in International Law and Constitutional Law, Vijay Kumar Sir hold expertise in administrative law, human rights law, constitutional law, and much more. Sir's contribution extend beyond academics. Sir has actively shaped legal education in India, holding UNHCR Chair of Refugee Law. A member of Academic Council of National Law University, Delhi, he is also a recognized figure on a global stage, having served as visiting scholar at York University and National University of Singapore. Apart from his academic and administrative roles, Vijay Kumar Sir is an accomplished author, having penned over 47 articles in esteemed national and international journals. Sir has also got recognitions through various important awards. Sir's outstanding achievements and dedication to legal education make him an esteemed chief guest for our today's special program. Please join me in welcoming Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar Sir. Before Sir's lecture, I invite Professor Abhay Jadhav Sir, who will provide us an overview for today's special program. Over to you, Abhay Sir.
Thank you, Aditi. Let me wish we all happy Constitution Day. I also extend my warm, sincere thanks to our today's resource person, Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar Sir, for accepting our invitation to deliver this special lecture on the occasion of the Constitution Day. Respected sir, in our college, be it be the functions may be offline or online, we actually start every program with the preamble. And this seems that we are very sincere in promoting the values, cherishing the goals of the Constitution. This today's program is an example of what we every year do. Today being its 26th day, 26th November, Constitution Day. And as a law student, as a law college, as a persons from legal fraternity, we feel it is our duty to promote the and cherish the constitutional goal. With this core objectives, we every year invite legal expertise in the field of constitutional law to celebrate this Constitution Day. Along with the organizing the lectures throughout the year, we actually conduct several activities which are with the objectives to promote the constitutional goals. Coming to the introducing the today's event, as we have seen 26th November, on this day we adopted the Constitution of India, and hence we celebrate this day as the Constitution Day. To celebrate this day, today we have with us our respected resource person, Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar sir, who would be guiding all of us. And after his lecture, I'm sure that we will understand the constitutional values which we need to, as a persons from legal fraternity, which we need to spread and create an awareness in the society. I have a very short time. With this short introduction, I stop myself. Thank you everyone for giving.
Thank you so much, sir. Without further ado, let's move on to the highlight of our event, the special lecture by Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar, sir. Sir, I invite you for delivering the lecture. Over to you, sir, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me to share a few thoughts of mine on this occasion to over about 110 participants online, which is very nice on a Sunday morning. Waking up the students and then getting them online itself is a grand task. And I think the principal and the faculty, they have done their job to ensure that at least about 100, as I see, there are about 112 participants online. That being so, I need to make a mention about certain things. The preamble of the Constitution was read out to you. Now, reading the preamble is one aspect of it. Understanding the crux of the preamble is entirely different part of it. So therefore, I would like to focus a little on understanding the preamble after giving some outline about how the Constitution came into force and why this day is being celebrated as Constitution Day, so on and so forth. When we come to preamble, I'll try to explain how we have to realize the content of this preamble in a different manner than what you see in the books, and particularly the constitutional law books, saying that the Supreme Court said this, the Supreme Court said that on preamble. So that is entirely different ball game. But I would like to put it in a different way, where the students will, whenever they read the preamble, they will have a different thinking altogether here afterwards. The Constitution, as has already been pointed out, was adopted, enacted and given to ourselves on the 26th November 1949. Now, once it came into picture, the Constitution was completely brought into force on 26th January 1950. I just wanted to ask the participants present here, teacher or the taught, why do we say that the Constitution has come into force on 26th January 1950? Is there any legal document, or is there any document, a provision, statutory or otherwise, present based on which we can understand that yes, the Constitution has come into force on 26th January 1950? Is there anyone? If there is some response, you can unmute yourselves and then tell us. Because as a student of law, I want to know the exact document or a provision which tells me that 26th day of 26th January is the date on which the Constitution came into force. Anybody?
Those who want to speak, please raise hand. I can unmute them.
So no response?
Sir, because in 1930, Indian National Congress has demanded complete Swaraj or Purna Swaraj
Okay.
as opposed to the Dominion status.
Okay. Then?
Sir, we replaced the Indian Government Act 1935 on that day.
Government of India Act 1935. Yes. What is that act to do with the Republic coming into force of this Constitution? Or what is that Purna Swaraj resolution to do with 26th January 1950?
The following the event of the December 31, I think 1929, the Lahore session of Indian National Congress, where Nehruji has hosted a tricolor and demanded the Purna Swaraj.
Okay. No, that is part of history. But as a student of law, I would like to have more authoritative document to say, yes, 26th January is the date on which the Constitution has come into force or commenced its proceedings. Right? Okay. Now, let me not waste your time. Yeah, somebody has said something. As it is written in preamble, somebody has sent it, Nagarkar, to everyone. It is not written in preamble. Preamble only says adopted and given to ourselves this Constitution on the 26th day of November. It doesn't say anything about 26th January 1950. Right? Okay. For the students who are present here online, I would like to refer to an authoritative document. There can be no authoritative document than the Constitution itself. It is not the preamble. If you carefully read, that is why, how many of us have read the Constitution at least once in our lifetime is the question that I would like to ask as a begin. If you have not done it, please refer to Article 394 of the Constitution. I will read it for the benefit of all these participants present online. Article 394, commencement. Right? This article and Articles 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 324, 366, 367, 379, 380, 388, 391, 392 and 393 shall come into force at once. What does it mean? Shall come into force at once means all these 16 articles referred to in Article 394 shall come into force on 29th November 1949. The entire Constitution is not coming into force. Only these 16 articles shall come into force at once. Who says that? It is the Constitution itself. Article 394 provides for that. Right? Shall come into force at once. And please carefully listen to me. And the remaining provisions of this Constitution shall come into force on the 26th day of January 1950, which day is referred to in this Constitution as the commencement of this Constitution. Right? So if somebody says it's part of history, it is some resolution, right? That is entirely different. Okay. So therefore, the more authoritative provision, you will find it in Article 394. There are 16 articles that have come into force on 26th November 1949, and the rest of the provisions of the Constitution. And the Constitution says shall come into force on the 26th day of January 1950, which day is referred to in this constitution as the commencement of this constitution. So if you don't know this, as a student of law, if somebody is coming and asking, why are we celebrating Republic Day as a commencement of the constitution, and you cannot give historical evidence that this was a resolution passed, so on and so forth. As a law student, as a lawyer, as a law teacher, you should provide the more authoritative basis. Article 394. Please, when you go back, read it at least once, twice, to understand why we do say that this is the commencement of the constitution, right? So there are two ways of looking at it. 16 articles came into force on 26th November 1949. The rest of them came into force on 26th January 1950, a day that we celebrate as the commencement of the constitution or as the Republic Day, right? Right? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, right. Now, this Constitution Day is of recent origin. Now, please try to appreciate when the Constitution came into force on 26th January 1950 in its full form and adopted on 26th November 1949, for almost 30 years or 35 years or even 39 years, we never thought of the significance of these dates. Whereas, if you just look at the American Constitution, come what may, July 4th every year is their date, and they celebrate all over the territory of the US, right? And we did not do that. Even if it was done maybe in one or two places in the bar councils in Delhi, Madras, or Bombay. Few lawyers will gather and then say something and disperse. But it was in 1979. Dr. Justice Krishnaiah, along with the Bar Association of the Supreme Court of India, discussed this and said that this is a significant date and we have to celebrate this so that the people will get to know the preamble and other important provisions of the constitutions better. Therefore, for the first time, it was celebrated on 26th November 1979, not as Constitution Day, but as the Law Day, right? And so this is the beginning. So from 1950 or 1951, if you take it, to 1979, we never had a formal provision of celebrating the Constitution Day or the Law Day as it was called till then. Something happened after that. It was in 2015. It was in 2015 when Dr. Ambedkar, his 125th birth anniversary fell in the year 2015, right? Now, on this day, 26th November, the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, made a declaration on 11th October 2015 while laying the foundation stone of the B.R. Ambedkar statue of Equality Memorial in Mumbai at the Hindu Mills compound in the heart of Mumbai. Now, please try to understand, for almost up to 2015, we were celebrating that as the Law Day. And then the Prime Minister, coinciding with the 125th birth anniversary of the chairperson of the drafting committee, Dr. Ambedkar, B.R. Ambedkar, and he was inaugurating the statue, the foundation stone of the statue and the huge complex. And this memorial was developed at a cost of over 400 crores in the city, right? And The next, from 15 to 2000, it saw so many developments taking place there. Based on this, a Gazette notification, whatever the Prime Minister said in Mumbai while laying down the foundation stone on 11th October, was translated into action on 19th November 2015. These dates are very significant. So on 19th November 2015, a Gazette notification to this effect declaring that this date will be celebrated as the Constitution Day, and a notification to this effect was issued on November 19, 2015 by the Department of Social Justice and Empowerment of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. The notification noted that the current year is also witnessing the 125th birth anniversary of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who had chaired the Constituent Assembly, the drafting committee, and played a pivotal role in the drafting of the Constitution of India. Similarly, prior to this, on September 30th, 2015, a commemorative stamp of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was released jointly by the Government of India as a part of the celebrations of his 125th birth anniversary. Right? So you can understand that from 1951 to 1979, a vast majority of the Indian populace did not know what was meant as the Law Day, what was celebrated as Law Day. And then from 1979 to 2015, people did not understand as to why it was celebrated as Law Day. And from 2015, we started observing this as a Constitution Day, and still we did not know the significance and the content of the preamble in a manner which we should be appreciating it. Right? And therefore, it is our constitutional obligation, a duty on the part of each and every law student, right, present, past, a lawyer, a judge, a law teacher, to look at and then observe this in a much more meaningful manner, rather than paying a lip service of reading the preamble once and then forget it for the next 365 days. Right? I think in that way, it may take millions of years for us to realize the values present in the preamble. That's what I'm going to speak about for another 20-30 minutes. Right? Now, let me just move a little further. And before that, let me just highlight the memorial that was established in Mumbai, right? Where a statue of Ambedkar, possibly one among the tallest statues of 150 feet, right? It will also comprise a stupa, which will be 140 feet in height and 110 meters in circumference. There will be an Ashoka Chakra covering the memorial structure, and a meditation hall with a seating capacity of 13,000 people. Right? A section named as Gallery of Struggle, depicting momentous events associated with the life and work of Dr. Ambedkar, will also be part of the project. And the memorial itself covers around 7.4 hectares of the Indu Mill land acquired from the National Textile Corporation by the state government for this project. I had the opportunity of visiting that, and I hope every student of law, and as you're all present in Maharashtra, you should make at least a sort of educational tour to go and see this monument and understand and be part of Ambedkar's that philosophy, right? The Constitution and its philosophy, right? To appreciate it better, so that we can translate this to what you call it as the people of this country. The celebrations of the 125th birth anniversary, which was launched, right, also took part as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, and the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs has decided to celebrate 71 years of this remarkable document, right? The ministry says it is a remarkable document, but if you look at the population, I can put it in writing, or I can tell you, all the law students, law teachers, judges sitting and retired put together, we will not form 1% of the total population. And even out of this 1% of the total population, how many of them would possibly know the values present in the Constitution and behave accordingly? Maybe much less. And therefore, the very phrase, the opening statement, we the people of India, what does it mean? And when we say we the people of India, it includes all the 1.4 billion population, right? And that is why somebody said, when the Constitution was made and adopted, enacted and given to ourselves, I was not even born. Even I was not born. But that is no excuse, because if you read the writings of Edmund Burke in his Reflections on the French Revolution, he beautifully puts it. The state is like a partnership agreement. State is like a partnership agreement. A partnership agreement between those who have lived and gone with those who are living. And then in the second place it says, those who are living and those who are yet to come into this world. What a beautiful statement. That gives a continuity. That gives us a continuity. And if you are a student of environmental law, you will also understand that we are talking about the future generation. Maintaining the environmental equilibrium for the benefit of the future generation. So the thought of future generation comes into picture. So therefore, Constitution is a document which links the past, the present, and the future. And if you look at the meaning of the term we the people, it is not only those who are existing today as 1.4, but the millions of people who lived and gone, and then those millions who are likely to come into picture in the years to come. And that is the meaning of the term we the people of India, right? And then this year, this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, I would appreciate all the students to please log on to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, and then there is something that you read the text of the, you read the preamble of the Constitution in all the 22 languages, official languages that we have, and you can choose any one of the language, and the preamble appears in that particular language. You read that, you have to enroll, and at the fag end of that, the Government of India, the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs, will issue a certificate, online certificate, for having read the preamble of the Constitution. So I would request all these 112 participants, right, who are there, to please log on to the Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs and then read the preamble and get a certificate. It will be handy when you go for some sort of selection, where you can very proudly say that you have been reading the preamble every year and you have the certificates to prove this. And this is a wonderful opportunity given to the individuals, the citizens of this country, right? And they also have a quiz, right? And if you are good enough, what's that?
Please unmute yourself.
Right? So therefore, there is also a quiz program, Bharat Loktantra Ki Janani, and you can also participate in that and get a certificate, right? And therefore, we need to understand the significance of this preamble in a much more meaningful manner, and that's what I would like to mention. Before I do that, I would like everyone to, after this presentation is over, go to the speech of Dr. Ambedkar on the 25th November 1949, right? It is barely about a document, right? after doing the entire exercise, he delivered a 4-page note, right? His speech on 25th November 1949, right? And if you read, I am going to read part of all these things, not everything, but some of that, and then I come back to the preamble and then conclude thereafter, right? Now, what did he say, right? Now, on 25th November, right? See how humble he was in his presentation on the concluding day, because the next day it was adopted, signed, and given to ourselves, the Constitution. Dr. Ambedkar, in the opening remark, said, I was therefore greatly surprised when the Assembly elected me to the drafting committee. Right? I was more than surprised when the drafting committee selected me to be the chairman. Right? There were in drafting committee men bigger and better and more competent than myself, such as my friend Sir Alladi Krishnasamy Iyer. I am grateful to the Constituent Assembly and the drafting committee for reposing in me so much trust and confidence, and to have chosen me as their instrument and given me this opportunity of serving the country. How humble he was, recognizing the talents present there in the Constituent Assembly, and more particularly the drafting committee, and saying, I was surprised when I was elected to the drafting committee, and I was even more surprised when they elected me as the chairperson in the presence of Sir Alladi Krishnasamy Iyer and people like that. And that tells us the humble character of Dr. Ambedkar, which was very clearly evident in the opening statement of his. Right? Then comes the most important humbleness. See, these are all the things which we don't read it in the constitutional law book. But we have to go through the Constitutional Assembly debates so that we are able to cull out all these things. And the more you read the Constituent Assembly debates, how much energy and time they have spent in drafting this constitution, you will understand. Now, the second place, the humbleness of Dr. Ambedkar can be seen in the second paragraph of that speech, which he delivered on 25th November 1949. He was thanking three different people or groups of people for having done a wonderful job. Right? I would like to read that particular paragraph as well. The credit that is given to me does not really belong to me. Please, I want to quote this. The credit that is given to me does not really belong to me. It belongs partly to Sir B.N. Rao, Benegal Narasingha Rao, the constitutional advisor to the Constituent Assembly, who prepared a rough draft of the Constitution for the consideration of the drafting committee. So you should, see how humble he was, and he has not forgotten the work done by people. And first he recollects the work done by Sir B.N. Rao, Benegal Narasingha Rao, who drafted the first draft of the Constitution for the Constituent Assembly and the drafting committee to consider this and then adopt the Constitution that we have today. Secondly, he says, a part of the credit must go to the members of the drafting committee. Members of the drafting committee. And a much greater share of credit must go to Mr. S.N. Mukherjee, the chief draftsperson or draftsman of the Constitution. His ability to put the most intricate proposals in the simplest and the clearest legal form can rarely be equaled, nor his capacity for hard work. Right? This paragraph is very, very significant for us to understand the hard work put in by different people, first by B.N. Rao, second by the members of the Constituent Assembly, and the third by S.N. Mukherjee, and whose calligraphic draft of the Constitution, I think it is also available in the printed form today. and you are amazed with all the laptops and others. I don't know whether you could do this work, but he was able to put all of them together. So therefore, when we read the preamble, we have to thank not only B.N. Rao, the members of the Constituent Assembly, and Mukherjee, but we should also thank Dr. Ambedkar for having guided as the chairperson of the drafting committee for 2 years, 11 months and 13 days or 14 days, and giving this constitution which is now working, right? And I also want you to keep in mind that we did not go the way you look at the neighbors around us. I don't want you to go to, South America or West Asia or any other place. You please just look around the Indian subcontinent, the South Asian region. If you start from Nepal, right, the turmoil that they have seen, the revision of the constitution totally, and then what's happening there in Nepal. Come to Bangladesh, you have seen the revolution and then what is happening there. You go to Sri Lanka, again you have the same problem. You go to Mauritius, you go to Pakistan, right? You are now looking at Afghanistan as a South Asian country. Every region, every country in and around us has gone through a huge turmoil, and then the constitution did not come to the rescue. But the Indian constitution still stands strong, and come what may, we the people, there may be differences among people based on religion, caste, sex, place of birth, the language we speak, so on and so forth. But when it comes as a crisis, we all come together and behave like we the people of India. That is the importance of the phrase we the people of India, right? Now, having said that, Dr. Ambedkar, see the visionary Ambedkar, have you given a good constitution? So he says, because I feel, however good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out too bad because those who are called to work it happen to be a bad lot. I want you to carefully analyze this. I read it once again. Because I feel, however good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work it happen to be a bad lot. Then he says, however bad a constitution may be, it may turn out to be a good if those who are called to work it happen to be a good lot. The working of the constitution does not depend wholly upon the nature of the constitution. The constitution can provide only the organs of the state, such as the legislature, executive, and the judiciary. The factors on which the working of those organs of the state depend are the people and the political parties they will set up as their instruments to carry out their wishes and their politics. Who can say how the people of India and the parties will behave? This is the question he raised on the 25th November. Will they uphold the constitutional methods of achieving their purposes, or will they prefer revolutionary methods of achieving them? If they adopt the prophet to say that it will fail, it is therefore futile to pass any judgment upon the constitution without reference to the part of which the people and their parties are likely to play. And that is what I want to emphasize. I once again underline the last statement in this paragraph, right? If they adopt a prophet to say that it will fail, it is therefore futile to pass any judgment upon the constitution without reference to the part which the people and their parties are likely to play. Right? Now, you show me the governance, or the character of the government depends upon the people that we have. It is the reflection of the people themselves. Now, in this sense, I will not get into the details of how the division of powers, the distribution of power, the separation of powers, all these things were identified very briefly, very pithily in another paragraph. I will not get into that, right? But I will also get into something different. in the same presentation on 25th November 1949, in a different paragraph, this is what Dr. Ambedkar said. I quote, "Will Indians place the country above their creed, or will they place creed above the country?" Right? These things we will not get by reading the preamble. By reading what is said on 25th November, and when you go back and read the preamble, then you will better understand each and every phrase used in the preamble in the backdrop of the questions that he has raised, in the backdrop of the answers that he had provided. So will the Indians, I once again reiterate, will Indians place the country above their creed, or will they place creed above the country? I do not know. But this much is certain, that if the parties place creed above the country, see what a beautiful statement. But this much is certain, that if the parties place creed above the country, our independence will be put in jeopardy a second time and probably be lost forever. This eventually we must all resolutely guard against. We must be determined to defend our independence with the last drop of our blood. Right? So therefore, he has put so much of faith in the people and the political parties, and they must shun the creed and place the constitution above that. But is it happening today? And we have to ask this question, because we are part of the people, and then only we can, right? And then it is said, Dr. Ambedkar said, but it is quite possible in a country like India, where democracy from its long disuse must be regarded as something quite new. There is danger of democracy giving place to dictatorship. See this. We call ourselves as a democratic republic, but that automatically leads to what you call it as dictatorship. It is quite possible for this newborn democracy to retain its form, but give place to dictatorship in fact. If there is a landslide, the danger of the second possibility becoming actuality is much greater. If we wish to maintain democracy, not merely in form, but also in fact, what must we do? And this is what I want to emphasize on this occasion. He mentions three important things, and I would like to mention those three. I will not read everything, but if we wish to maintain democracy, not merely in form, but also in fact, what must we do? Right? And he says, in the first place, the first thing in my judgment we must do is to hold fast to constitutional methods of achieving our social and economic objectives. It means we must abandon the bloody methods of revolution. It means that we must abandon the method of civil disobedience, non-cooperation, and satyagraha. When there was no way left for constitutional methods for achieving economic and social objectives, there was a great deal of justification for unconstitutional methods. But where constitutional methods are open, there can be no justification for these unconstitutional methods. These methods are nothing but the grammar of anarchy. He calls it as grammar of anarchy. And the sooner they are abandoned, the better for us. What a beautiful statement of Dr. Ambedkar. So three things he suggests. So the first thing is we must avoid this type of anarchy so that we can safeguard the constitution and safeguard the culture that we have of staying together. Second thing is we must do is to observe the caution, and he refers to John Stuart Mill, who has given to all who are interested in the maintenance of democracy, namely, now to lay their liberties at the feet of even great men, or trust him with powers which enable him to subvert their institutions. There is nothing wrong in being grateful to great men who have rendered lifelong services to the country, but there are limits to gratefulness. As has been well said by the Irish patriot Daniel O'Connell, no man can be grateful at the cost of his honor, no woman can be grateful at the cost of her chastity, and no nation can be grateful at the cost of its liberty. This caution is far more necessary in the case of India. That's what Dr. Ambedkar says by referring to what John Stuart Mill and patriot Daniel O'Connell had said. And he says this caution is far more necessary because we always go behind the leaders, worship them, and keep them on top, forgetting they are also individual citizens like us. And therefore, the caution is far more necessary in the case of India than in the case of any other country. This is what Dr. Ambedkar said. For India, bhakti, I want you to carefully listen to this. Bhakti, or what may be called as the path of devotion or hero worship, plays a part in its politics unequaled in the magnitude by the part it plays in the politics of any other country in the world. Right? And he says, bhakti in religion may be a road to the salvation of the soul. But in politics, bhakti or hero worship is a sure road to degradation and to eventual dictatorship. And we have already seen what dictatorship he meant. And then, if the bhakti movement, this cult, comes into politics called hero worship, then possibly it will also lead to the dictatorship. And third, he says we must make our political democracy a social democracy as well. And political democracy cannot last unless there lies at the basis of its a social democracy. What does social democracy mean? It means a way of life which recognizes liberty, equality, and fraternity. And it's a very long paragraph. I don't want to read the entire paragraph, right? We must begin acknowledging the fact that there is complete absence of two things in Indian society. One of these is equality. On the other social plan, we have in India a society based on the principle of graded inequality, which means elevation for some and degradation for another. Right? On the economic plane, we have a society in which there are some who have immense wealth as against many who live in abject poverty. On 26th January 1950, we are going to enter into a life of contradictions. Right? We are going to enter into a life of contradictions. In politics, we will have equality, and in social and economic life, we will have inequality. In politics, we will be recognizing the principle of one man, one vote, and one vote, one value. In our social and economic life, we shall, by reason of our social and economic structure, continue to deny the principle of one man, one value. How long shall we continue to live this life of contradictions? How long shall we continue to deny equality in our social and economic life? I will continue to deny it for long. We will do so only by putting our political democracy in peril. We must remove the contradictions at the earliest possible moment, or else those who suffer from inequality will blow up the structure of political democracy, which this assembly has so laboriously built up. The second thing that we are wanting in its recognition of the principle of fraternity. What does fraternity mean? Fraternity means a sense of common brotherhood of all Indians. If Indians belong to one people, it is the principle which gives us unity and solidarity to social life. It is a difficult thing to achieve. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, it is very important for us to read. There are very important, part of the speech, right? But I can't read all of them. What does it mean? Now you go back to the preamble and read the preamble in the manner that we read it today, right? We, the people of India, and when I understand we, it is not only we, the existing people, it also refers to the people who existed in this country earlier and those who are likely to come. So our appreciation goes beyond the limited understanding of we, the existing people. That's very important. right? And given to ourselves as a constitution. And there are 4 values. And I want all the students present here, please put your hand on your, chest, on your heart, and find out whether you recognize these things. Justice, in which social, economic, and political. It is not simply the legal justice that we are talking about from the courts of law. Justice, social, economic, and political. Liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. Equality of status and opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity. And fraternity, if somebody asked a question, can you identify one single phrase which is all important? What will be your answer? Please note down in the entire preamble which is the most important word, a phrase is more important to you, more dearer to you. Then it all depends on how you can translate this into action. I'll come to that little later. Fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So we can read it any number of times, but if you keep at the back of your mind the 3 important issues raised by Dr. Ambedkar on 25th November 1949, and I think our understanding and appreciation of the preamble will be entirely different. So somebody said that for me, justice is more important phrase. Somebody said liberty is more important, equality is more important, fraternity is more important, socialism is more important, right? Unity and integrity is more important. Different people said so many things. But as a student of law, for me, if you ask me to identify a single phrase in the preamble, I will identify the dignity of the individual. Now, if you see the preamble, it says citizens in the first place, right? And in the second place, it says individuals, right? The dignity of the individual is more important. Am I able to protect my dignity as against others? If that is my right, I should also have the same duty to protect and respect the dignity of others. If this can be done, I think one towards other, the society will go beyond what we are today. And therefore, I would request all the members to look at and read the preamble as much as possible, and then propagate to the people who have not come across the Constitution text. Right? They may be engineers, they may be doctors, they may be technocrats, they may be working in very many places. But still, I am reminded of what the graduates of IITs and IIMs in the US are doing. They have what you call it as a club, Constitution Club. Their job is to read the Constituent Assembly debates. See, they are not lawyers, they are not law students. But being technocrats and managerial people, they want to understand why this Constitution was framed in this manner, and to find out whether we are working towards whatever was discussed and deliberated and adopted. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, on this occasion, as I have to go back to another Ramaya University, to participate in this Constitution Day celebration, I'll stop here, but with a request to all of you, please read the preamble in the manner that it is to be read. That's number one. And propagate the value, first of all, to your own family members, second, to your own classmates, and third, to the general public wherever you go. And I hope that you have a legal aid center or legal literacy center. Go to other colleges and institutions and print the preamble in a language which they can understand, not in English, in a language that it is available today, and distribute the copies and then speak to them and tell them what is the crux of this preamble. Then I think the Constitution Day will have its real meaning, rather than simply reading the preamble, the content of it once and forget it for the next 365 days. I take this opportunity to wish all of you a very happy and prosperous Constitution Day, and thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share a few thoughts of mine on the basis of what Dr. Ambedkar preached on the lecture, on the presentation he made on 25th November 1949. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you very much, sir. We are extremely grateful for the enlightening insights on Constitution Day. Your valuable perspectives added depth to our understanding of the principles that actually shape our nation itself. Thank you very much. Now, we will be honored to hear the presidential address by Shri Krishna More sir, the Vice Principal of Manikchand Pahade Law College. Over
And
to you, sir.
with
Yes,
a
sir.
request, can I leave?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Because next half
Thank
an
you.
hour I should travel and then make my preparation for the next one. Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, with your permission, I leave.
Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor Vijay Kumar, sir. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
Dear participant and the organizers, I will be privileged to give the concluding address of this wonderful lecture delivered by our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Vijay Kumar, sir. And he had focused on the thoughts given by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar in his historical speech of 25th November 1949. Only one thing I must again quote from that speech, that Babasaheb had said that castes are anti-national, and I request all the students who are the part of this August gathering that please to look into annihilation of caste and to make our India as a nation, what Dr. Babasaheb had dreamed of. And sir, I must inform you that our student on every 26th January are reading the preamble of our constitution in 4 languages, Marathi, Hindi, English, Urdu, which are spoken language in Aurangabad. They are very good contributing in spreading the message of the constitution. And again, I can assure you that definitely whatever you have given the guidance to our student, they will try to implement the same thing as a student of the constitutional law, as a part of the spreading of constitutional sensitivity amongst themselves and in the citizenry. So this was a very good occasion on the celebration of Constitution Day. Dr. Vijay Kumar sir have given very good thought, and we must thankful to him. Dear student, as sir is leaving the meeting, but you should not forget the message he has given into this very good lecture. And as a student of constitutional law, everybody bears that responsibility. You know that as a student, as a citizen of India, we have the fundamental duty to abide by the constitution and respect the ideals, national anthem and the national song as per 51A of our constitution. So with this, I will conclude my presidential address as Honorable Vice Chancellor has spoken on. So I must not talk on the same thing. We should respect the thoughts which are given by our Honorable Speaker. I'm thankful to the organizer for giving me this opportunity for giving the concluding address. Over to you, Aditi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Lastly, I invite Professor Pratibha Girbane ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks for today's event.
Thank you, Aditi. Good morning to all. Respected chief guest of today's special lecture, Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar sir, Principal of our college, Dr. C.M. Rao sir, Vice Principal, Shri Kishan More sir, all my dear colleagues and dear students. I'm very glad to be here to propose vote of thanks for this special lecture which was organized on the eve of Constitution Day. At first, on the behalf of management staff and students of our college, I express my gratitude to chief guest of today's special lecture, Professor Dr. V. Vijay Kumar sir, for accepting our invitation and enlightening all of us on this occasion. I'm thankful to him for inspiring us by his speech. Thank you so much, sir. I'm thankful to our Vice Principal, Professor Shri Kishan More sir, for presiding over today's function and delivering presidential address. I'm also thankful to Professor Abhay Jadhav sir for introducing today's event. I'm grateful to our principal sir, Dr. C.M. Rao, for his constant encouragement in organizing this event. I'm grateful to IQC coordinator, Dr. Aparna Kotapalle, and all the staff members for their cooperation. I'm also thankful to our management for their constant support. I'm thankful to anchor of today's event, Miss Aditi, for very nicely conducting today's program. I'm thankful to all the students who have actively participated in this special lecture from the beginning. And finally, I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. Thank you all.
Thank you, ma'am. Once again, I thank you all for being part of this enlightening session. With the permission of organizers, I declare this program is over. Have a good day. Thank you so much.